The island of Niihau, located 17 miles off the northwest corner of the island of Kauai, is one of the most beautiful dive sites anywhere in the world, and my favorite one for the Hawaiian Islands. Niihau is located in the middle of nowhere. It's a very dry island, and it doesn't have the runoff that often kills reefs or clouds the water. The water is crystal clear out there and extremely deep around the entire island. This dive site is called Puumuu, and on the top of it, it's a flat rocky shelf that drops down to about 70 to 80 feet deep on the side and is about 40 feet deep on the top. You can see here that there's these big canyons carved right through the reef. That happened 10,000 years ago when the sea levels were low, much lower than they are today in the Ice Age, and water actually ran through these canyons just like the Grand Canyon. This canyon is my favorite here, and it looks like almost an underwater version of the desert in places in Arizona and New Mexico. When the water rushed through all of these areas, what it did is it created cracks and caves all over this reef. And then over the last 10,000 years, when the water level rose up, now these cracks and caves are unbelievable habitat for thousands of different creatures. My favorite part of this is when you dive down with your best friends, you're looking at this blackness right in front of you. It's this giant cave, and then you go in and see a world that's completely different than any world I've ever been to. Inside these caves are huge schools of fish. Sometimes they're upside down, sometimes they're right side up. It doesn't matter much to them. On the top of these caves grows these incredibly beautiful black corals. And they're an entire ecosystem that evolves in these caves. Many of the creatures in these caves don't even need the use of eyeballs. Some of them are endemic to just living inside these caves. When you're in there and you look back out, it's really super, super magical. The whole event is hard to even explain to anyone. We get in the caves, we turn on our bright lights, and there's 3 different species of black corals growing from the ceiling of the cave. And if you look close, these black corals have certain types of hawkfish living in them. They're also covered with mussels, and these mussels look like they have every single color on the planet. They're gorgeous, but they're actually not the mussel, it's colorful. Sponges grow all over the mussels, and in these caves you can have sponges of 100 different colors. They completely cover the roof of the cave, along with cup corals, lionfish hanging upside down, these snowflake corals. You can spend an entire hour diving in one of these caves and go nowhere else. I could spend an entire month in one of these caves. These are the lobsters that are just stacked side by side in one of the cracks. The diversity of life out here at Niihau is phenomenal. Every color of the rainbow. When you come out of the caves, it is so deep near shore, you may run into an eagle ray. You may find a big shark cruising by, and in the wintertime, if you're out there, you may even see a whale or 2 swimming by. This is what's so unique about diving out at Niihau, and it's completely different than most of the other places in Hawaii. On the floor of the caves are these big old moray eels cruising around, and then you have the sea biscuits that litter the floor. Going out of one of these caves into a little bit of sunshine and then going into the next cave is hard to even imagine what it feels like. You just have to do it. You see cowries on the floor of the cave. This funny crab with a sponge on its head, call it the sponge crab. One of my favorite views is being in the back of the cave and looking at all of my friends diving in there, turning their lights on and off. And it makes just an array of like some kind of science fiction movie. Not many people in the world get the opportunity to go underwater at 60, 80 feet deep and scuba dive in a giant cave at the island of Niihau. If you ever get the chance to do it, I'd do it. It's spectacular. And on the way home, you might catch a big fish for dinner.